So let's look at some settings and some common settings that we're going to recommend that you set for WordPress. But the first tab here you'll see is General Settings. You'll see that here. And the blog title would be Three Rivers Home Healthcare. Whatever we put in here is going to show up in the tab here, Three Rivers Home Healthcare. It's also going to show at the top of the internet browser here. So if we navigate to different pages on this site, it's going to have that Three Rivers Home Healthcare in here, and it's pulling that from this field here. Tagline: if your theme supports this, you can write something more descriptive. Well, you know, Three Rivers Home Healthcare, what do you do? We take care of people. But this theme specifically is not set up to utilize that tagline, so we can just, you know, we can put something in there, we cannot, it doesn't make a difference. WordPress address, URL, and blog address, URL, you can typically leave those alone. You don't want to mess with those. Email address, and this is going to be the email address for the administrator of the back end of the website, because if you forget your admin password, you're going to want that emailed to you. So it's important to keep that updated. Membership: can anyone register, or do you have protected content or whatever? You may want to play with that. New user default role: when somebody does register, what access do you want them to give? Do you just want them to be able to read like subscriber, or do you want them to contribute writing blog articles, or do you want to give them full-blown access to this whole back-end section as well? So I'm going to leave that as subscriber. Time zone: we can set this to our correct time zone, and that does play a role in certain plugins. Date format: this is just personal preference. Time format, personal preference again. Week starts on, this is personal preference, but I'm going to stick with the good old calendar default that Americans have come to know and love. We can look at the writing tab. For the most part, we can leave these alone. One thing I like to change is formatting. This option to convert emoticons like this little smiley and this little smiley to graphics on display, and typically that's a little less professional. If somebody's using, if they're leaving a comment for you and they use the colon parentheses to make a smiley face, WordPress will actually convert that to a graphic smiley face. I think it looks a little less professional, so I just uncheck that. But really the rest of these are fine as is, and so we're going to save changes. Let's go down to the reading item here, and by default our front page displays something very specific that we've set up. This area pulls from the items that are listed as the services that this company offers. This area pulls from the content that we've written for the Who We Are page. This area pulls content from the Our Mission page. So this is not really one page, it's really excerpts of several pages compiled into one. We're going to leave that here, but if you wanted a particular page, if you wanted to create a home page, say, you could choose that home page here. So if we created, you know, if we wrote an about page and we wanted that page to come up when somebody went to our domain, we would click about, and that would be our front page, if you will, our home page. And then if we had posts, if we had blog articles, we could select that post page. So articles would be where our blogs are, and it's just how WordPress looks at the difference between front page, post page. But for our purposes, I'm going to leave this as your latest post, and that's fine. Some of these items we don't even really need to work with, but the discussion, we can look at these really quickly, so you can see what these look like. You could set if somebody does comment and they use a particular word, maybe that's something offensive, that you say, hey, I don't want this comment to show automatically. If a comment contains a particular set of words, whatever, then we want to be notified before it goes live. Then we could just enter those words here. So think of the dirtiest words you can think of, and put them all in here, and they won't show up on your site until somebody's had the chance to moderate those and approve those. Comment blacklists. It's different options that you can use. Feel free to play with those. Media, privacy, we're going to skip. But permalinks, I highly suggest you choose one of these other ways of naming your pages. As you can see, if I go to the About page, we'll see up in the header here we've got a question mark, page ID equals 2. Well, what does that mean? Nobody really knows. Your website users aren't going to know what page ID 2 is. They're looking for the About page. So we can set that a little better by choosing this month and name option here, clicking Save Changes. Now when people click About, WordPress is going to pull in the page title. So now we can see, okay, that's about this company, Three Rivers. And that's also important not only for your readers, but it's also important for search engines, because if you have a page called Our Services, then you want search engines to list that and to know what those services are. We're going to go back to the back end here. That does it for permalinks. Miscellaneous, you can feel free to work with that, but if you can, leave that alone. These other three options are menus that came about from plugins that we installed, so we're going to skip those for now. When you install WordPress by default, you will only have these several items here. You won't have these, but we'll walk through these a little bit later. That's the settings tab.